Live, Laugh, Larceny discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or could be easy listening to all you psychopaths out there.
All stories are based on actual events, but details may vary.
Listener discretion is not advised.
Live,
Laugh.
Larceny. Welcome to Live, Laugh, Larceny, the show with more dirtbags than Walmart's garden section. This is Trevin.
And I am Amanda. Ugh, those dirtbags.
Ugh, all over the place.
So, Trevin,
Yes.
we are going to be doing something a little bit different this week, and we have a joint dilemma. However,
And it's not one of those 420 ones. Don't worry, guys.
no. We collectively share a dreadful dilemma. But before we jump into that, we did have a couple quick updates.
So we received a package recently from a listener named Jade here in Kansas City with us.
Yes.
And she got me this extremely comfy shirt from their lawn company. It is Kroll's Lawn Care.
With a K, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, Krull. And she just said if you guys want to, you can check them out on Facebook.
Nice. And she even sent us cute little pins. Poor Trevin. Because we were like, that's your shirt. That's your shirt. Immediately, Emily grabbed one pin and I grabbed the other one. Mine is an adorable little bong. And it's on my purse now. So thank you, Jade.
I will say that she said in the message, obviously the trophy's for Amanda and a pin for each of you. So we also got a trophy of a goat that says the goat.
No way. I did not know that the trophy was for me.
Yeah, the trophy's for you. I wanted to wait till you were on air to let you know that.
Oh my God. Why am I the goat?
I don't know. Listeners, tell Amanda why she's the goat.
Why am I the goat? I mean, I will accept it with a lot of pride, but why? What did I do to deserve such an honor?
I think it's because you chew on tin cans in your spare time.
And I get excited and fall over at random. Yeah, speaking of, before we jump into that though, too, we did want to also say we have an official Facebook group.
Oh, yeah.
And that was started by another listener.
A-Line, who made the B-Line and Mo-Line from like a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was even last week.
Yeah.
She created the group for us that we also help admin. So we are considering it the official group, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's called Doomed Crew Live, Laugh, Larceny. And we didn't come up with the questions to get in. A-Line did, but they were cracking me up when I was answering those.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun.
So yes, if you want to join, there's been a lot of really fun posts in there. Also a good place to just send us links to funny news stories or funny memes or whatever. Just come by and say hello.
Yeah, the conversations are usually hopping. Even if you want to discuss a crime, I'm sure there's plenty of people ready to do it with you.
Yes. So, Trevin, are we on to our dilemma this week?
Our joint dilemma. So last weekend, the reason why we had to take a week off is Amanda and I went to our friend's bachelor/bachelorette party.
Yes, in the Ozarks.
This is my friend who was with me on the night of the blue mustache.
That's right.
He was also my roommate during the time of one of those early crimes where the money was stolen.
Oh, yes.
And then the kid pretended to be asleep with the money.
Yes.
So he was my roommate at that time too. So close friend. We've hung out with each other for all the times we've known each other.
He actually also worked with both of us. When Trevin and I met at that god-awful train brake repair shop, he worked there too.
Yep.
So I met you both at the same time.
So we went out to the lake to celebrate their bacheloretting.
Yeah.
It was a nice time. It was a little resort by the Lake of the Ozarks. It was just a fun, drunken time.
Right.
But it was like record heat in Missouri with the most thick, humid. It was like walking through butter.
It did feel like we were in Florida minus the beautiful beach view. I mean, we got a lake view, but it was hot as hell.
Yes.
It was HOTTOGO. So it was very hot. Is that your main part that was so dreadful for you?
Okay, so I didn't know if you wanted me to just take the whole thing on. Because my dreadful dilemma is probably the exact same dilemma you have.
Oh, okay. So before the dreadful part occurred, though, can we just really quickly talk about the belly flop contest that was at the pool? Because, you guys, I'm wanting to take all the different videos of all the contestants and make a TikTok and share it with you guys, because it was honestly quite the time.
It was a really fun time, and everybody was involved by the end of it.
Yes.
The whole pool.
The whole pool was watching. I got videos of every contestant of this belly flop contest. My husband Jordan got second place, which it turned out to be totally fine because a freaking bride-to-be won the whole thing. And she got a giant trophy and she got a gift card, but we still got a gift card too.
Yep.
And the bachelor that we were celebrating got a gift card too. So then we all went out to eat afterwards. And then you can take it from there, Trevin.
So as it had already been a hot day, we were all at the pool for such a long time. They had a nice little swim up bar. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was just such a cool touch. It just made me feel royalty, even though it was the Lake of the Ozarks. I thought, ooh, a swim up bar.
We were like hillbilly royalty out there.
We really were.
Yeah.
So then we went to go eat dinner. We were a pretty large group, and I think what they normally do is they put the large groups. Actually, we went to the upstairs restaurant, and they did not want to deal with us. They already dealt with us during breakfast time, and they were like, oh, go to the restaurant downstairs.
Did they? I was late to the party, so okay.
Okay, yeah. So they sent us downstairs, and then the downstairs people were just like, okay, well, we're going to put them out on the deck, which was fine. Everybody was kind of in a party mood, but it was still so hot and humid.
Yeah.
So we're all sitting here in this huge section of probably, I would say at least 18 of the 25 people we were with were out there on this patio area. We put a ton of tables together, and Amanda sat next to me.
Yeah, of course. My homie.
We were hanging out, just chilling, and Amanda looks over at me and says, I don't think I'm feeling very well.
Wait. Right before this happened, my husband Jordan, he's been belly flopped left and right. He has asthma really bad. Both of us have been out in the hot sun, drinking more than we ever drink, smoking more than we ever smoke, both kind of lit as a tit. He is off on a bench having a random ass asthma attack. He's like half dying off in the distance. So he's already embarrassing us as a couple, half dying on the bench. And what do I go and do?
Okay, so I got to remember Amanda's perspective in this too, and why that's important to her side of this dilemma. Amanda looks at me and just says, oh, I don't feel so good.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, I think that's what you said. It was a pretty basic thing to say in the situation. And she immediately did that pass out thing that we've talked about before.
Yes.
The dilemma she had in the past about passing out at the table.
Yes, when I passed out at brunch with Molly.
So Amanda passes out and lays her head on me.
I landed my head on you?
Your whole side of your body passed out onto me, and you laid your head on my shoulder.
Okay.
She then starts to like kind of flinch out a little bit.
I do have weird little like seizure motions where I twitch.
So here's how I handled the situation.
What did you do?
Of course, I'm a kind friend. I handled your weight and everything was great. I was your rock. Okay. But I just laughed at you because I thought you were making a really dark joke.
You thought I was joking. I forgot about this part. I'm so glad we're recapping this step by step. I don't remember being on your shoulder at all.
Oh, yeah. You completely hunched over, and I just thought you were really committing to the bit.
No way.
So I just kind of looked over at the other people at the table, and I'm just like, that girl doesn't feel very good. Leaning over, like, isn't that silly of her? And you're unconscious and hanging off of me.
Oh my God, Trevin.
When you had finally came to and I told you, I was like, oh, don't worry. You were really great at being an inconspicuous passer-outer. Yeah. I made you feel good in the moment because you were like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. And I'm like, I don't think anybody noticed.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that I was playing it so cool. Like, I would have weekend at Bernie'd your ass the whole way had I not actually woke up to the situation and been like, oh, wait, something actually is happening here.
Oh my God, Trevin. Honestly, thank you. Thank you for thinking that I was committing to a weird bit seizing at the table because it took some eyes off of me. And that's what I needed, to be honest. I needed somebody to be like, this bitch is fine. She's just ridiculous. That's what I needed. I did not want the whole world to know. Okay, that's funny. I did not know I was even on your shoulder at all. From my perspective, I said something to you because Jordan was half-assed dying, so I didn't have him to tell. And so I looked over at you, and I remember saying something like, yeah, I'm not feeling so great, or something very chill. I wasn't like, Trevin, I'm about to pass out, like I'm dying. Like, so I understand why you were like, what is happening? Next thing I know, I am on 2 high up chairs.
Yeah, these are tall bar table chairs. And that was because you were like, I just want to lay down. I just want to lay down here. And I was like, you should not lay down here because these are very high chairs.
Yeah.
But you insisted.
Yeah, I'm like up on 2 high top bar stools. Somehow you guys are holding me on here. But Molly told me lay down. It gets the oxygen to your brain quicker. You come to quicker. And that's why I did it the second time too. So anyway, I ended up coming to. The waitress that we had.
Oh, I loved her.
She was the most chill person in the universe. She literally brought me ice in a washcloth.
Can I just say, drunk people trying to take care of somebody in a kind of high stress situation is so awful.
Yeah.
Our friends were just like, I don't know, sometimes she has blood sugar issues and I don't know, vagal. And all these people are like freaking out and they're like, I don't know, get her orange juice. And the waitress is like, be right back. And so out of nowhere, you're coming to, and they're like, you want this little glass of orange juice?
Wait, why?
And you were like, why is everybody trying to give me orange juice?
No, why did they did that the second time too?
Oh my God.
Everyone kept giving me orange juice. Guys, I don't want orange juice. I just want water and to lay down. It was so weird. They just didn't know what to do. So she came out, she was fully prepared, and she so casually was just like, people drink, and it's so hot. People pass out literally every day. I deal with this on a regular basis. I was like, oh, okay. So then I felt way less awkward for her. I mean, she knew exactly where to put the ice. You put it on your wrists, on your veins, and you get a washcloth on the back of your neck. Those are the 2 places that you put ice if you've passed out, because it helps you come to quicker too. And I tried to rally. I almost passed out a second time later on in the night when the girls and boys split apart. But I immediately laid down, and it was embarrassing to do it, but I didn't lose full consciousness that time.
Right.
So it was worth it. I remember you telling me you thought I was joking, but I didn't know how serious you were being when you told me that.
That's my dilemma. I'm not good in real emergency situations. It's almost like my brain blacks out and goes to, oh, this is a joke. Like when I told the story of getting jumped with the sword.
Yeah.
I made a joke at the guy because this is silly.
Yeah.
Because why would something like this happen to me? And I just make everything a joke. So it's darkly funny.
Yeah. But this is dark humor. This is what our podcast is all about.
Yeah. That's just how my head works.
It's okay, Trevin. We all do weird things to cope. And in this case, you probably saved me a little bit of like people going overboard and bringing way more eyes to the situation than really needed.
That's true. I covered it up so well.
Yes. So thank you. But yeah, that was our joint dreadful dilemma, you guys.
Yeah, don't travel with us.
Don't travel with us. And honestly, if you are out in the heat in the Ozarks belly flopping and lit as a tit, be careful.
Yeah.
We're too old for this shit.
Find some AC.
So we are doing a round of Would You Rather this week.
Would you rather?
And I wanted to do something Olympics related.
I thought about doing something Olympics related. I just don't know enough about it to feel like I should be talking about it. So
I definitely shouldn't be talking about it either. But I did get a lot of really good information about it, so it's okay. And honestly, I haven't even been watching it that much. I'm like a really bad patriot.
I did share that meme about the girl who was sponsored by Parmesan cheese.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
There is something about those photos. If you don't follow us on social medias, I can't remember her name. Just look up Italian gymnast Parmesan cheese. And she takes the most cutest, joyful photos holding big Parmesans.
Big wheels of cheese.
While doing her like gymnastic sits or whatever. And I don't know, it brings me joy.
Yeah, it is really cute. And there's been so many good iconic moments like the pole vaulter with the giant
oh yeah, the dong
bulge that people were like, let him live with his big penis, There's been a lot of really good, funny, memeable moments. So yeah, I wanted to do some Would You Rather based around the Olympics. Before we do the Would You Rather question, I just wanted to say a few things. The first modern Olympic Games took place in Athens, Greece from April 6th through the 15th of 1896. That's the first documented one. From then to now, there have been some interesting Olympic sports along the way, which brings me to my question. Which would you rather be an Olympian for? Would you rather be an Olympian for hot air ballooning, which took place only once in the year 1900, or would you rather be an Olympian in solo synchronized swimming, which took place from 1984 to 1992? I know you're not a big swimming fan, but let's just say that for either of these would you rathers, you're an excellent swimmer, dancer, performer, and an excellent hot air balloonist.
And I have an Olympian body.
Yes, you can have an Olympic body in both of them.
Well, in that case,
they're both just really weird Olympic sports that didn't last long, so I just wanted to see which one.
If I can have an Olympic body, I'll be the solo synchronized swimmer.
Fuck yes, me too.
That sounds way cooler.
For so many reasons.
Well, I'm afraid of heights, and I don't trust hot air balloons at all. It's not romantic. Don't do it for me or with me.
I guess I did go skydiving, but I've never been in a hot air balloon. They do seem a little dangerous. You have land beneath you, flames above you, air around you. I mean, all of the elements are working against you, so I feel that.
Yeah.
But solo synchronized swimming, I don't even know how they got away with that, because what are you synchronizing to? Synchronized swimming was a thing because it's a group of people moving at the exact same motion. Are you synchronizing yourself to the music? You should already be doing that. What are you synchronized to? And that's why they ended up canceling it, because it was a ridiculous dancing sport just for kicks and gigs.
Just for dancing, I guess.
I don't know, but I would definitely be that, because I feel like when you're in water, you're weightless. You can achieve great things. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine the dance moves I could bust out underwater?
And everybody's looking at only you.
Yes.
You would love the attention.
This is what I needed. I should have been alive back then.
I feel self-conscious, but love my Olympian body. So I have a would you rather.
Okay.
That I didn't come up with myself. I saw it on a Reddit and I just thought, this is silly. I told it to Emily. She laughed.
Okay.
So I just figured we got to talk about this one. Would you rather sweat mayonnaise or not be able to tell the difference between a baby and a muffin? See what I mean? It's just so good.
Oh, God. Well, for my sake in particular, I would have to sweat out mayonnaise, because I can't be trying to eat my delicious blueberry muffin children every day.
Yeah. It'd almost be like an Edgar Allan Poe sort of thing, just feeling the call to eat your blueberry muffin child.
Yeah, that's a no for me. But you did technically say baby specifically, and I guess my children are a toddler and a kid now. Mm-hmm. But still, it's too risky.
Could you imagine the conversation between two parents at a barbecue? It's just like, oh, it's a fine young teen you have. And it's like, yeah, your teen's not too bad either. Boy, it was hard getting past that first year though, huh? I know. I was so hungry.
I wanted to eat that baby right up. I wanted to put butter on that baby, toast it up a little. Yeah, that'd be awful. I'm sorry. I would have to sweat mayonnaise, but that is so nasty.
I think I could go with the baby one.
You would go with the baby? Okay, here we go.
I think I have the self-control to not eat the big muffin.
I don't.
You don't think you do?
No, I think I'd be eating babies.
I think I would just be able to train myself to be scared of all muffins and just go muffinless.
Yeah, and honestly, for you, that would be a good excuse. You could even be upfront with it and be like, listen, I can't hold your baby. It's not because I'm afraid to. It's not because they can't hold its head up and I'm so freaked out by them. It's because if I do, I will devour them. Yeah. Like, that's a really good excuse to avoid all infant situations that make you feel uncomfortable.
I do like the excuse.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm not going to make any excuses for?
Is it these ads?
It's these ads! So we are back and it is story time, and it is my week to go first. This crime story may have been sought out by me because I knew I had an upcoming event in my life that I attended. And also, I had way too much fun building the atmosphere with this story. You'll see why, but I won't give it all away. And here we go. A hesitant officer slowly approached a quaint Airbnb located in Nashville, Tennessee. Stepping on broken glass with each step, he surveyed the scene. The mess had appeared to come from the house's large front window. Only now, it was a gaping hole, surrounded by jagged and unforgiving shards. Stepping inside the front door, the destruction continued to stun the officer. A decorative lamp had been smashed aggressively into the plush carpeted floor. A seemingly innocent dining room chair was broken in half. Blinds were torn apart. The coffee table was overturned, and expensive throw pillows were scattered carelessly onto the floor. The officer's eyes couldn't believe the disaster before him, yet they scanned the room for additional clues. That's when he saw the first sign that a party had taken place there recently. Half-devoured Jell-O shots left out on the table were still cold to the touch. They appeared to be black cherry flavored, but he couldn't be sure. For proper evidence collection, the officer circled his tongue around the outer edge of one of the forgotten and full Jell-O shots before sucking it down his gullet. He felt like he had earned it for being the first to show up to this 911 call. Plus, he was right. They were black cherry. The officer tried to determine what type of party took place there when he noticed a familiar shape exhibited on decorations, eating utensils, and cookies. Penises. There were penises everywhere. He gulped as he discovered popped penis balloons and grabbed his own crotch when he found a handful of bent penis straws. The officer closed his inner thighs and retracted his ballsack, remembering that the potential culprit was sitting just outside of the house. He shouted through the busted front window, saying,
Is this the kind of party I think it is?
The injured suspect turned to look at the officer and scoffed. Yeah, it was a bachelorette party. 12 hours earlier. It was only months away until Alexandra's favorite cousin, Megan, was set to get married. To show Alexandra's love toward her cousin, she offered to organize her bachelorette party. Although they currently lived in New Jersey, she had rented a cute Airbnb in Nashville, Tennessee for the girls' weekend. Megan had many great qualities, like loyalty and honesty. Unfortunately, those qualities weren't always used for good, making Megan loyal to the wrong people and brutally honest.
Your shirt would look great on somebody else.
Alexandra knew that hosting her cousin and her unpredictable friends was risky, but she was reassured knowing that she had planned it to be a small and low-key celebration. It was later that evening when the two cousins rode together to the Airbnb with Megan's friends not far behind them. Arriving at the rental home, the girls observed their abode for the weekend.
Kind of small, isn't it?
Megan asked as she tilted her head to one side.
There are only 4 of us.
Alexandra explained with a shrug.
It's fine, cuz. I love it. And we're gonna have fun here.
Megan said, realizing her first response did come off as a bit negative. The cousins finished unpacking just as the 2 other partygoers arrived at the house. The first of Megan's friends to step inside was Abby, spelled A-B-I. Just because she lacked an additional B and Y didn't mean she lacked in personality. She was always the life of the party, with today being no exception.
Honey, we're home!
She yelled into the entryway. Walking in behind her was Flo, who, regardless of her name, was anything but go with the flow. It was typical for Flo to fight against any plans that sounded fun, then ruin whatever boring plans remained. Alexandra didn't know what her cousin saw in her besties, but her focus was to keep the weekend calm and entertaining. The unlikely group of 4 all gathered around the Airbnb's dining room table to figure out the plans for their first evening in town. Alexandra knew that tomorrow was a jam-packed day, starting with a boozy brunch and ending with a nightclub that features a mechanical bull. In her perfect world, they would chill at the Airbnb for the first night, maybe get into cozy PJs, and spill about all the exes that probably missed them. But when she articulated this idea out loud to the girls, their feedback was straight to the point.
Ew, you really thought we would stay in tonight?
the bride-to-be said as she scrunched up her face in disgust.
Yeah, we are definitely going out tonight.
Abby shouted in very close proximity to Alexandra's ears.
I hate both ideas equally,
Stated Flo as she filed her nails and didn't look up. Alexandra could feel the control of the evening slipping out of her hands quickly. The only thing she could do at this point was accept defeat and cave to the club outing.
All right, let's go out to a club. How bad could it possibly be?
Alexandra said with uncertainty. 4 hours later. Things had gotten bad. Real bad. Abby had slammed back 12 shots and counting and was topless on top of the bar. Megan was dancing on the dance floor and throwing insults at any man who tried to grind on her.
Nice try, sweaty.
And Flo was arguing with the DJ about what he called a proper playlist.
Do you even have Chapel Roan?
All of them were intoxicated and unaware of the awkward time that Alexandra was having as the DD, watching things unfold. She sat at one of the sticky bar tops, waiting for the other ladies to tire out. However, that was sped up once Flo had begun making out with the DJ she had been arguing with, who was currently in a relationship with a bartender.
Get your own DJ, you slut.
Once his girlfriend saw them behind the booth, Alexandra knew it was now or never before they escaped the bar without a brawl. She grabbed Abby from the bar, titties and all. Swooped up Megan right before another man touched her ass without permission. And with seconds remaining, managed to pull Flo off the cheating DJ.
I love you.
Alexandra herded the drunken friends out of a back door and into her car, just in time to flee. They arrived back to the small rental home just as they had left it. Abby immediately ran to the toilet to puke, causing Megan to pee in the sink next to her. Alexandra locked up the house and gave everyone a water bottle. After that, she felt like her shift of babysitting was over for the night. Eventually, everyone passed out in different places around the home, leaving nothing but the sounds of soft snores and bubble guts grumbling. The next morning, Alexandra woke up with her head pounding from last night's club music. She didn't know how she was going to make it through an entire day of drinking with this wild bunch. She considered faking the flu or having diarrhea, but she decided against it. It was her favorite cousin's weekend. She had to make the best of it. When the hungover crew woke up, Alexandra greeted them with Advil and some breakfast. She was hoping to get a thank you, if not for breakfast, for last night's ride home. Instead, she was greeted with,
Oh God, you cooked bacon? I'm ready for round 2, baby. I'm skipping breakfast and going straight to shots.
This is the most unoriginal morning of my life.
The morning was filled with complaints, drunken shouting, and general ungratefulness, and Alexandra was about fed up. As soon as the batch crew was seated at their boozy brunch, everyone ordered bottomless mimosas. Everyone, except Alexandra, who asked,
Can I get an entire bottle of wine, please?
The rest of the brunch was a bit of a blur for Alexandra. She remembered seeing chicken and waffles at the table and ordering a second bottle of wine, but that's where the consistent memories ended. One thing she could tell was that her vision was blurred and her mouth was uncontrollable. She felt repressed words starting to climb up her esophagus in a wave of anger, and before she could think of containing herself, the words bursted from her parted lips.
Fuck all of you ungrateful ass clowns!
Alexandra saw her cousin's rage-filled face and heard someone telling her that maybe she should leave.
Maybe you should leave.
It was in this moment she didn't know exactly where she was, but she knew she wanted out. Alexandra called an Uber back to the Airbnb she had rented for the weekend, silently planning her revenge in the back seat of a stranger. Not a second after the Uber pulled out of the driveway, Alexandra realized she didn't remember the code to get inside the rental home. She tried every possible number combination her wasted self could calculate, but nothing unlocked the door. Suddenly, Alexandra was kicking in the front window, ignoring the injuries on her leg, and entering the house. Inside, she was reminded of all her hard work that had gone into the weekend. She karate chopped the blinds, pummeled a lamp into the ground, and slammed a dining room chair in half. She popped a couple floating penis balloons, bent all the phallic plastic straws, and even chucked the throw pillows amuck. After Alexandra torpedoed through the place, some of the wine began escaping through her sweaty pores. She started to feel the cuts on her leg and process the damages done around her. She walked outside to the porch and sat down, only to be greeted by a hesitant officer slowly approaching the quaint Airbnb.
Is this the kind of party I think it is?
On June 6, 2019, around 3 p.m., the Metro Nashville Police Department responded to a call reporting a possible break-in to a small Nashville, Tennessee Airbnb. When police arrived on scene, they found 29-year-old Garwood, New Jersey native Alexandra Cheedy on the front steps. She was injured and bleeding from her right foot, sitting close by to the home's shattered front window. This led officers to believe she had kicked through the window with her bare feet when she couldn't get into the house. Inside the residence, authorities also discovered a damaged lamp, chair, and blinds. Furniture around the rental had been tossed around, including a coffee table that was flipped over. Total damages done to the Airbnb were estimated to cost roughly $1,900. According to the arrest affidavit, Alexandra explained she had come to Tennessee for a bachelorette party and had rented out the Airbnb. When asked why she had destroyed the home, she stated that she drank 2 bottles of wine and went psycho. Alexandra was hospitalized for her injured foot before being arrested on a felony charge for vandalism. She was booked at Davidson County Jail, where her bond was set at $2,500. A spokesperson for Airbnb released a statement in response to the incident, telling the Post,
"The reported behavior is completely inappropriate. We have suspended the guest's account as we investigate and are in touch with the host to offer our support."
Bachelorette parties can get messy and wild, and sometimes the unlucky attendees end up in jail. For all of you planning to attend one of these parties, beware. Celebrate in caution for the bride-to-be, and remember not to get too drunk or petty.
I don't know how many times I've used the excuse of 2 bottles of wine and just going psycho. So this is relatable, but I don't think I would have used it as a police alibi.
Yeah. I know I made her cousin character be the one that was brutally honest.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's in the DNA. I don't know.
Maybe so.
But before I do explain a little bit more, I did want to give 2 shout outs. Alexandra was a real person who ended up drinking the 2 bottles of wine and going psycho, but Abby R. and Megan M. are felony tier patrons on our Patreon account, so I wanted to give them a little shout out. Megan was the bride-to-be in the story, and Abby was the party animal friend in the story, so I hope you all enjoyed your roles. Flo was the only character that was completely made up by me. I wanted to have a weird little Debbie Downer in the mix to mix it up.
Everyone needs one.
Everyone needs one, and it's okay to be one sometimes.
I like being the one.
I have no real idea who the bride was or who the rest of the party was. They weren't mentioned in any article, which led me to assume that when they found Alexandra at the Airbnb, that they were all still out celebrating elsewhere because they weren't interviewed, they weren't quoted. I don't even know the genders or names or relations of any of the people at the party. Mm-hmm. I just know that Alexandra was found there by herself in the middle of the day. And one article did say that she was celebrating with friends and family. So that's why I decided to make one of them a cousin.
I don't know about you, but my friends growing up, this sounds like a normal way for an event to go with this particular group of friends. I could see like, oh, remember the time we did this and old Broomhilda went and got too drunk and destroyed the whole place?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was the best bachelorette party ever. It just sounds very believable.
It does. I don't know if you were picking up what I was trying to do. I was trying to throw you off the scent. I did not want you guys to think Alexandra was the guilty one. I wanted you to think it was one of the wild friends because she was worried about hosting them the whole time. She seemed to be the most in control and organized and put together. And I wanted her to seem like the last person you would expect to be the one that downed the bottles and destroyed the Airbnb. So I hope that caught you off guard.
It did. It's not what I was thinking. I was like, where is the story going?
Right.
Because I get all this penis stuff, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. You use the penis line, penises everywhere.
Yes.
Was from a story once before.
Yes, it was from the graffiti one where the kids spray painted penises everywhere. Yeah, I wanted to do a callback. I like to do that sometimes, the funny little sayings that we do. And just saying penises everywhere is very funny to say.
Penises is definitely your bread and butter when it comes to acting.
But it was a fun story. I wanted to specifically do a bachelorette. I knew I had an upcoming bachelorette party, and I wanted it to be one of them going awry, which you had the one where the one shot out the... Wasn't that a bachelorette party, or was that a 21st?
That was a birthday.
So is this our first bachelorette?
I'm having a hard time. I know I've had some on my list, but I don't know if I ever went through and did one.
I did do the bachelor party where the guy sued Tawny Peaks for the lap dance with her gigantic bosoms, but we've never done a bachelorette.
Okay, but we have done a bachelor.
A batch. We've done a couple batches of these.
Yeah, that's a very iconic episode. How did I not think of that?
Yeah, I didn't think of that one either, but I do think that is the only one. The ladies needed their due, okay?
Oh, yeah. The ladies always deserve their due.
Yeah.
Did you say you did 2 Airbnbs in Nashville stories or something?
Yes. So if you guys remember the story that I told about the very petty Airbnb owner that saw video surveillance of the man with the woman and sent it to his wife because he didn't want to pay, or there was like beef between them. Yeah, that was also an Airbnb in Nashville.
You did do that one because that was around the time we were going to Nashville for CrimeCon.
Now this one, I was not looking to obviously tie into that. I just wanted an unhinged bachelorette, and I also wanted it to make it be like the most unlikely suspect. Those were my 2 things I wanted to do.
And it just happened to be in
And it
Nashville.
just happened to be there. Even when I wrote it and saw it, I was like, what is going on in Nashville? I know it's a big party town and it's a big tourist town where people come to celebrate those big moments in life, and maybe sometimes people just go a little too far in Nashville.
I could see it.
I could see it too.
I'd spend a little too much in Nashville, so I wouldn't go too far. You seem to really like Airbnb content, which we had one of our patrons, I can't remember which one off the top of my head, suggested that for our movies that we do for Patreon, doing the movie Barbarian, which is actually very set around Airbnbs. So that will be a fun one for you.
Oh my God. I did not know that at all. I don't know most of these movie premises, most of the horror.
This isn't a super big movie, so I can give you a pass on not knowing this one.
Okay. I'll take it. Hey, Doomed Crew, Amanda here. With all the bachelorette talk, I just wanted to hop on and let you guys know that my Etsy store has a bachelorette murder mystery party, and it is ready for purchase. I'm so excited. I finally got this one done just in time for the end of summer. I know there are a lot of bachelorette parties. Trevin and I just came back from one. I know I've mentioned my Etsy shop on the show before, but you can find all of the murder mystery parties that I completely made from scratch by myself on my Etsy shop if you look up Mandy's Mysteries. I have a Death by Disco, a 20s version. I have a PG version for younger kids, a circus sideshow, and now a bachelorette party that is all-inclusive to all genders. So if you're looking to have a great party and you want to solve a crime, please check out Mandy's Mysteries on Etsy. Bye.
So this week, this is an episode that I know maybe was a little chaotic in the beginning with our joint dilemma, and it's just been a while since we recorded together.
I know.
I feel a little long-winded today, but I will say that you and I are on the same wavelength this week. It's one of those beautiful moments where we just converge. We have a great connection that I already know.
Oh, yay!
But just to tell you another mini connection before I go into it, we both have 2019 crimes.
Oh, that's a random one. Okay.
Yeah. So celebrate.
2019. What were we doing in 2019, Trevin?
Emily and I would have been just moving in together for the first time at our first place together.
Oh,
At the
okay.
little house.
And I had a 1-year-old at that time. Lila was 1 because she was born in 2018. Interesting times.
Mm-hmm. This story gave me a lot of nostalgia.
Yes.
It's a story that really took me back, and everybody's going to have something that they can relate to this, but everybody's story is different. So listen up and let's take a trip back. And here we go. Growing up in the mid-90s, there was one place where I learned all of the world's truths. A social hub where children shared misheard and misunderstood information, peddling it as fact.
Girls are from Jupiter because they're stupider.
It was a time before the internet was handheld and all information was readily available. This was where I got my first taste of society, the gateway to the adult world, the school bus. For kids whose parents worked or simply didn't want to drive them, this was where every school day began and ended. Before getting out your books and pencils, you'd be gifted with all sorts of life lessons, handed down by teenagers and children with less parental presence. Being asked to spell I cup to a crowd, hearing cuss words out of the mouths of babes, and being flashed were all things I experienced for the first time on the bus. Seriously, that senior girl lifting her shirt to show me the largest, most covering padded gray bra ever still causes me to clutch my pearls 26 years later.
Oh, the coverage.
At the front of this metal shell on wheels was the driver, a hired hand for the district. Whether it was the assigning of seats, an unfavorable change in the bus route, or the addition of a mysterious plastic box that may or may not be a camera, the driver managed to remain a commoner to the riders, but a law upholder in the shadows, making them that much harder to trust. During my 12-ish years as a bus rider, I learned a lot about human anatomy, how social hierarchy is dictated by the locations you choose to frequent, and how to have a punk rock outlook on authority. Although I carry many traits that originated on the leather-bound seats of that big yellow daycare, the trauma also persists. Because as you will learn in today's story, what happens on the bus stays with you forever. The scene at the Northampton School District's bus barn at 5 a.m. can be described as a beautiful sunrise on the morning of the apocalypse. The tranquility felt through the chilly Pennsylvania lot during a time when the world was asleep always had a calming effect on Lori. But unlocking her battle tank reminded her that this peace wouldn't last. The battle tank, as Lori referred to it, was her means of putting food on the table. Bus number 5 for the Northampton School District. For Lori, the still bus was her battle tank. Not only did she take on a war zone of disrespectful shitheads, but even the cold, vacant bus carried the eerie energy from experience past. It felt like standing in the shadow of a war machine in a museum, its quiet presence a reminder of the pain and destruction endured. The 44-year-old woman took a sip from her untrendy 70s-style Stanley thermos, sliding it into the cup holder on her seat. She looked out into the dark lot as each bus illuminated like a little neighborhood waking up at the same time.
Bus number 1, reporting for duty.
Crackled over the radio as roll call began, each bus driver checking in numerical order.
Bus 2 reporting for duty.
Bus 3, reporting for duty.
Bus 4 reporting for duty.
As it became Lori's turn to report in, she hesitated, hoping to procrastinate the route ahead. It had only been 2 weeks on this new route, but she'd already had enough. Any second she could hold off, she would gladly take it.
Bus number 5, reporting for duty.
Lori let slip out of her mouth half-heartedly. She started up her diesel engine, revealing the rows of seats behind her. As bus number 4 pulled out ahead of her, Lori put her bus in drive, following the line out the gated lot.
How you doing back there, Lori?
The driver from bus number 4 asked gently through the CB radio.
Usually us drivers are excited for Fridays, but it's been pretty obvious that you've been going through something since transferring over to your new route. You're practically a husk compared to the Lori we get on the Bus Driver Beer Olympics every year.
Lori's bloodshot eyes stared forward, fixed on the back end of bus 4, knowing that it housed the person whom she was speaking. Rachel Holloway was the coolest and kindest of the bus drivers for the district. No matter which bus Lori had in her career, Rachel's support was always there. Following her ass out the gate every morning was one of the bright spots in becoming the driver of Bus 5.
It's been a really rough couple of weeks on Bus 5, Rachel.
Lori finally whimpered into the CB radio.
The kids are mean. I don't know the route very well, and lately I've been questioning the schedule of a bus driver altogether. I wake up earlier than most people. I go to work. I'm off for like 6 hours, and then I'm back on again. Like, how off am I? I'm not clocked in, but I can still get in trouble if I enjoy bottomless mimosas on a Friday.
Lori, are you back on the bubbly again?
Rachel chimed in.
No, but the attitudes of these children really make me want to pop a bottle and pretend it's New Year's Eve.
Lori waited for a response from Rachel, who eventually came back on with a defeated sigh.
Take it from me, Lori. I'm a mother to humans and animals, a true crime podcaster, a highest tier subscriber to another podcast Patreon, and now I'm a bus driver. I didn't become this badass of a woman by sipping rosé and running from my problems. The wheels on the bus go round and round, my friend, just like the world. Let's take it one day at a time.
Lori quickly remembered Rachel's podcast, Like Mother, Like Murder, where she and her co-host Heather discussed mom-related true crime cases.
I'm sorry, I keep meaning to check out your podcast, Rachel.
That's okay.
Rachel responded with a chuckle.
Just know that if you do listen to my show, I will sound nothing like I do on this CB radio. Well, I'm about to pick up my first bret. Okay, love you, bye.
Lori's first stop came shortly after, picking up a first grader named Lila. She watched as the little brunette, wearing a Disney inside-out backpack, took her seat at the front and waved goodbye to her cackling mother. Though Lila's presence exuded sweetness, Lori knew that it was all downhill from here. The rest of the morning route unfolded like a watered-down version of the afternoons. The troublemaking teens boarded and shuffled to the back, subdued by sleepy heads and smartphones. Each time Lori came close to missing a student stop, they were quick to correct her in the most entitled tones imaginable.
Don't you know your route?
But as grating as the asshole adolescents in the back were, Rachel's wise words from Bus 4 allowed Lori to keep a lid on what would have otherwise been a meltdown. Slightly behind schedule, Bus 5 pulled up to the school. Lila, the first grader, was the first to hop off, followed by swarms of older kids. Lori smiled at the little girl, but her expression quickly faded as she watched the rest of the riders file out. Each one had their own kind of strut or body language, just begging for attention. Zebra-striped hair, pants that were more holes than fabric, and cottagecore dresses filled the aisles, all prepared to stand out in the eclectic chaos of public school.
God, this bus driver sucks.
One edgy kid muttered to another as they exited. The recipient of the diss laughed, trying to mask their reaction, but Lori heard it loud and clear, just as the original kid had intended. The sting of the comment lingered, and Lori couldn't help but carry her newfound offense home with her for her late morning break. Back at home, Lori stewed over the audacity of children while half watching The View.
There's never anything good on!
She yelled, springing up from the couch.
Why haven't I invested in a streaming service? Don't they get that I'm new and still figuring it out? And why do I work with kids when I clearly hate them?
In a huff, Lori stormed to the fridge, yanking out a $5 bottle of Brut and some off-brand OJ. She stared at the ingredients in her hands, torn between the job that was driving her crazy, Rachel's wise words, and the tempting logic of a brunch time mimosa. Unbeknownst to how this scene would unfold, our story ambiguously fast-forwards in time. Back at the bus line, Lori flinched at the sound of the 3 o'clock bell dismissing the kids. Her forehead glistened with sweat as the ground rumbled from the stampede of school-age children descending upon her. With a single pull of the door handle, bus number 5 transformed into the battle tank Lori knew and dreaded, admitting all of her tiny adversaries. The afternoon route was a stark contrast to the morning. While the morning started with the tired children boarding individually, the afternoons brought a wave of rambunctious kids all at once, eager for the night ahead and energized by their friends. It was the worst way to end a workday. The constant bickering between the aisles filled the metal tube of a vehicle, giving Lori an instant stress headache. She glanced at Lila, who was smiling from the front seat. Her presence was a reminder that, amidst the chaos, there were still some good kids on this bus. Lori shifted the bus into drive, causing the unsteady students to slide back into their seats.
This lady's driving like a damn animal.
One voice shouted above the rest.
She's probably drunk.
Another suggested. Feeling uneasy, Lori was dismayed that her driving was already being questioned while still on school property. The remark made her think of mimosas once again. She peered into the giant visor that gave her a view of the entire bus and made an announcement to the kids.
I hope we can all behave today. I'd hate to head into the weekend with a pink slip.
With her warning delivered, Lori pulled onto the road, but the children immediately resumed their raucous behavior. Armpit farts, shouting, and laughter echoed in the bus, making the still new route even harder to navigate.
My house!
A small voice called out as Lori slammed the brakes. The high school kids in the back exaggerated in unison, purposely flinging their bodies over the seats in front of them. Lori rolled her eyes as she opened the door for the small child to get off.
Don't let them see you crack.
She muttered to herself, putting the bus in drive and immediately taking a turn too wide, drifting into the wrong lane. She quickly regained control and pulled back into place. Despite correcting her mistake smoothly, she had, in fact, let them see her crack. In strictly political terms, Lori had lost control of the bus. Any misstep, however minor, would prompt heckling from the rows behind her.
Who taught you how to drive?
It began with the high schoolers and trickled down to the middle school section. Each time she glanced up into her visor, more and more little faces joined the crowd, pointing and laughing at her.
Shut up, you little brats! I'm the driver!
She shouted, making one last attempt to assert her authority. The outburst only frightened Lila and the younger kids, who began to cry. Bawling, screaming, and more armpit farts filled Lori's ears as she pressed down on the gas, desperate to finish her shift and escape this juvenile jeering.
Look out! Grandma's got a lead foot!
A ninth grader yelled as the nerdy kids held on tightly to their $700 graphing calculators.
Hush up! You're all being dramatic.
Lori called back to the children, diverting her attention from the huge pothole that lay ahead. The bus's high speed, paired with the pothole's abrupt drop, sent the back rows to bounce. Their screams ranged from over-exaggerated to screams of joy to genuine terror. She felt terrible knowing that they were kids that were scared and not just ridiculing her. There was no way she could return to this job.
You kids are making me quit my job after 2 weeks!
Lori screamed into the hallway of chaos behind her. The bus driver's confession was completely ignored, as they all had problems of their own.
She's drunk! I just know it!
She smells like my stepdad. Fine!
She shouted, ready to play the only card that could scare the kids into behaving.
How about I pull over and call everyone's parents to come pick them up?
The crowd fell silent for a moment before erupting in a very emphatic.
Yes!
Lori glanced over her shoulder, hoping for a reassuring smile from Lila to remind her why she endured this chaos. But instead of a kind reaction, Lila sat pouting, her lower lip out and arms crossed. With each sassy tilt of her head, as if silently saying no, Lori's confidence crumbled.
You're a bad chick!
Lila declared, her voice dripping with disgust at the sight of the bus driver she once believed in. Lori stared at her reflection in the giant visor, seeing that she had, indeed, become a butt cheek. No discernible features, just a sweaty, unrecognizable ass cheek of a human being, topped with unkempt hair and light red scratch marks.
Butt cheek.
With the loss of her once bright star, Lori decided she was done. The students had already begun chanting, "Pull over." There was no point in finishing her shift. Signaling a quick detour, Lori pulled into the Northampton Sunoco gas station. The children erupted in cheers as she parked the bus and rushed out the door. Lori dashed into the gas station, grabbed the first attendant she could find, and thrust her keys into their hands.
I quit! I quit!
She screamed, heading back to the bus to open the rear door.
Get out! You're not my problem anymore.
She shouted, slowly extending a middle finger in the direction of all 26 of her former passengers.
Go fuck yourselves!
Lori anticlimactically turned and jogged down the road, her once fiery outburst now reduced to a quiet retreat. The children watched as she disappeared into the distance, leaving them to help each other off the bus.
Bye, Butchie!
As Lori huffed under the Pennsylvania sun, she felt a strange sense of liberation wash over her. The riders of Bus 5 were finally someone else's problem. Sure, her job was history, and she'd probably broken a few laws, but after a route like this, she knew exactly what drink she'd be having. In March of 2019, 44-year-old Lori Ann Mankos, a bus driver from Northampton, Pennsylvania, made headlines when she abandoned 26 students at a local Sunoco gas station during their afternoon bus route. Before leaving, she allegedly flipped them off and yelled, "Go fuck yourselves." Deputies in the school district were called, and a relief bus was sent to get the children home safely. Lori Mankos was arrested later at her home, where she admitted to officers she had been drinking. At the time, she was charged with a DUI, reckless driving, careless driving, and 26 counts of endangering the welfare of a child, information that quickly went viral. If you search for this crime online, you're likely to find sensationalized articles painting the picture of a wild and erratic drunk driver who verbally assaulted children before abandoning them. However, stories published just 3 weeks later revealed a more complex narrative. Mancos was 2 weeks into a new route and had documented complaints about the children's behavior. This later information led to her DUI charge being dropped, as she claimed she had only been drinking after returning home, not before driving. Due to this timeline, the police never tested her, leaving no proof that she was intoxicated behind the wheel. The news stories surrounding Lori-Ann Mancos fluctuate between 35 and 26 charges of endangering a child, depending on the total number of students she drove compared to how many were actually abandoned. The final count was never made public, nor was her ultimate punishment. For some reason, the latest article I could find mentions that a condition was added to her bail, prohibiting her from possessing a firearm, despite her having a license to carry, but not actually owning any guns. I suppose that detail matters to someone, though why it was highlighted remains a mystery. Whatever you choose to believe about this particular situation, it's fascinating how differently we humans can perceive and experience the same event. Much like the stories and information we first learn on the bus, the tale of Lori-Ann Mancos and the Go Fuck Yourselves bus stop is shrouded in legend and misinformation, passed along from wet mouths to thirsty ears. We all have a unique relationship with the bus. It's where we take a walk on the wild side with people who share nothing in common with us other than living in the specific location. Who you sit next to and what you learn may very well shape the person you become. Whether it's a wildly incorrect anatomy lesson, the introduction to angry metal music, or your first misdemeanor, as I stated earlier, what happens on the bus stays with you forever.
Wow. So nobody ever actually tested her for alcohol.
They did not.
So we do not know that for 100% certainty. However, what we do know is that she did say go fuck yourselves and leave the children, right?
Correct.
And she just ran away from the bus?
Yeah, the kids had said as they were getting off the bus, they looked down the road and just saw her disappearing off into the distance running down the road. Originally, it went viral with no school bus driver story at all. So it was just, this drunk woman was driving and all the kids were just like, we were scared. And I'm not saying that I don't believe the children that they were scared. I totally get it. It says that there was one time where she took a turn too wide. They said that she hit a pothole really hard. And I just assumed she probably missed some bus stops because that reminded me of my childhood when we would have fill-in bus drivers. And we'd be like, hey, don't you fucking know? And it's like, of course they don't know, dude. But we were kids and we were little assholes.
Yeah, totally. We only know what's right in front of us.
Mm-hmm. So they had said that. She gets mad, pulls over at a gas station, runs in. I swear there was an article where I thought it said what she told them, but I couldn't find it. So I gave the dramatic, I quit. She gives the keys to the person working at the gas station.
So that literally happened.
Yeah, I think she said something on the lines of like, I quit or I'm not, whatever, I'm done. Gives them the keys, goes. I heard one story where she didn't let the kids out. I heard another one where she let them out. I believe she did let them out.
Okay.
Because that's when some kids that were interviewed said, we looked down the road as we were getting out, still kind of confused what was going on. And we just see our bus driver bolting down the road.
Damn.
3 weeks later, she came out and they were doing a bunch of things where they were changing the numbers of how many she got. Like, if you were drunk, then you should get the endangering a child for every single one that rode the bus, not just the 26 you abandoned. So they tried to add it to 35. But then she came up and was like, you have no proof that I was ever drinking and driving. I was upset. And as she was running, she called her dad. Her dad came and picked her up. Her dad, her husband, and her sat in her house and they drank together on that Friday evening. So when the cops came to get her and they're like, hey, what's the deal with this? She's like, oh yeah, I did that and I've been drinking. And they're just like, okay, sounds good to me. And so they just took her off.
Okay.
So they gave her the DUI based off of that. It was later she had to be like, no, that's not the case. And they didn't get to her until like 2 hours later because they were too focused on getting the kids home and everything. They weren't too worried about her.
Right.
So because of all of that, nobody had proof that she was drunk. Some of the kids said that she smelled like alcohol, but she also said that those kids were kind of being dicks about her driving and stuff. And so they could also just be like, hey, you drunk lady? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to completely paint the story in one way or the other. I kind of wanted to make everything seem true. I mean, obviously she really wanted to drink because when she got home, she went straight to the bottle.
Exactly.
But I don't know, and that's why I had the weird time warp. I don't know if she drank her mimosa. I just did that because of the bachelor thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if she actually drank before taking those kids or not. In my mind, I want to say that she didn't. But it's very convenient that
regardless, you told a bunch of children to go fuck themselves and left them with the keys to a random gas station employee, which could easily be a serial killer?
Yeah, that's true. I didn't actually look at how nice of a gas station it was, so I don't know what we're looking at here.
Hey, there's a wide range. You used to work at a gas station, but...
That would have been the best day for me.
Yeah, you would have loved the drama.
I say, come in, my minions. I would just teach them everything I know.
Yeah, you can't just leave children on the side of the street. That's a real big problem.
But I couldn't find her at punishment. I wanted to know so bad.
Yeah, that's wild.
If she got the DUI expunged, she probably got the number back down to just the official number she abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet there's probably some way they got it reduced down to not just abandoning a child per se. I'm sure she got in trouble, but I don't know what.
The only thing I can think of is child endangerment, maybe. But without them telling us, there's no way to know.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that she was walking around with the news people and explaining her situation, and they were really listening to her and like, you kind of got a bad shake of all this. And she wasn't in jail is what I'm saying. She was out being able to tell her side of the story.
I never consistently rode the bus. I used to only ride it when I would go stay the night at a friend's house that rode it because she lived out in the country. But those bus kids were capital BAD, bad. And the bus driver was always a cranky bastard, which I don't blame him because they were bad. But he was also cranky and like evil too.
I had a bus driver who was a nice guy who actually was my dad's bus driver. That's how like wholesome and small town it is. But he was my dad's bus driver when he was a kid, and so he was an old man when I got to him. Aww. He walked with a cane. He drove one of those little bitty red scooters, and I'm talking like the old 70s scooters.
Oh, wow.
So he would drive around this little old town and just like, beep, beep, hey, oh, it's my bus driver.
Aw.
He was a nice guy, but then when he retired, then we started getting some real weirdos, and I had dreams of the bus driver like taking a detour and throwing a grenade in the bus and leaving me in there. Like that was a dream I had of this creep all the time. So I totally get how creepy a bus driver can come off.
Yes, I can see both sides. Bus drivers can be evil. Bus riders can be evil.
Oh, yes.
They can all be evil. So I can see how some shit can go down. But this is extreme, and I'm very curious. I get it. I would never want that job. I feel bad for bus drivers out there. You deserve an award, truly, but yeah, you can't leave them. If you've been drinking or not, like that's a really big problem.
Yeah, which is why I didn't go easy on her either and said like, why do I have a job where I clearly hate children? Because I've seen how those bad bus kids can really pick on a bus driver.
Oh, yeah, me too. Me freaking too. I do also remember when you said they looked up in their gigantic rear view mirror. Whew, I remember the looks the bus driver used to give in that mirror.
And you just saw angry eyes and a 5-head.
Yes. So clearly we connected on
mimosas.
You even talked about brunch. I talked about brunch, mimosas. We both basically had women on the brink of their patience as well. And we also did weird time warps. But yeah, I like the mimosa connection a lot. That's fun.
You can definitely tell that Amanda and I shared a dilemma this week and actually shared each other's presence this past weekend.
Yeah.
And that same kind of mode and mood has followed us into our stories.
Our cycles are synced again, Trevin.
Yes. Ugh.
Wow, that was a wild afternoon, Trevin. And I hope that everyone out there is having the best week. And just remember that no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we're all doomed.
Doomed to sweat mayonnaise, baby.
Oh, gross. Bye.
See ya.
Hey, if you need more unhinged content, you can either join our Patreon for movie nights, all the extra fun music stuff, or you can join our Facebook group.
And while you're following that Facebook group, why don't you give us a follow on our actual socials on any other platform, Instagram, TikTok, or Threads.
And if you've ever drank 2 bottles of wine and then went psycho, please send us your petty crime story. livelaughlarceny@gmail.com.
And describe our show the same way you'd describe Lori's driving. It's a wild ride. But please, give us 5 stars. Give your positive reviews wherever you rate podcasts, Apple, Spotify, or Good Pods.
The officer closed his inner thighs and retracted his ball sack. Oh my God. That one caught me off guard.
I guess I know how you feel sometimes now. Sometimes I'll say stuff to Emily and she's like, that's graphic. And I'm like, oh, I guess I can see how I get a jolt out of you sometimes.
Wow. I completely forgot I went there.